We know you like talking Star Wars. We like talking Star Wars. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. This is The Wars and More.
I always find it amazing that sometimes we sit down and we go, wow, it's a slow news week and we just really ain't got a lot to talk about. But we're Star Wars fans. So we're just going to go ahead and make stuff up, right? That's what we do. We speculate. We have fun. So this is The Wars and More. I'm Joe. And of course, with me is my good buddy, Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's, I kind of tire of saying that it's a slow news week and there's not a lot going on, but it's like, we'll figure it out. We can make the best of it.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, we're used to not a lot going on.
Yeah, I laugh because, you say we'll make it up. It's like we've been making up our own Star Wars stories in our own mind for decades now. So, yeah, no problem there.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to like not even the dark times, between the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. Not even to that, just post prequel trilogy, right?
Right.
And all the stuff that you and I have talked about over the years. It's like, yeah, we don't actually need new stuff coming out to, chat up the wars.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and we do have, some stuff to talk about with new stuff coming down the bike, but just, yeah, it's in comparison to the last couple weeks with the celebration coverage and all that, this is slow.
Yeah. Well, I think we got hit with a big blast of info and, we're kind of in one of those, lulls for the moment, but that's all right.
Yeah. It's funny because, they had that tweet back before Celebration said the calm before the galactic storm.
Right.
And I thought like once you got to Celebration, like it was just going to be bam, bam, bam,
right.
nonstop. And yeah, that hasn't been the case.
No.
I mean, there's been a lot of books and things like that. A lot of stuff that's not like, super, groundbreaking to talk about.
Right.
A lot of fun stuff, but it's like, is it really something that we're like super, super interested in? Yeah, but no.
Right. It's not the heavy hitting, groundbreaking news that, we're always hoping to get. So.
Yeah. And and right now our sights are honed in on episode 9.
Yes.
The Mandalorian.
Yes.
The Clone Wars. And with those all being silent right now, well,
yeah, I think we've gotten what we're going to get out of those for a little bit here.
Yeah, but for how long, I wonder? I mean, The Mandalorian, we're talking November, right?
Yeah.
So November, we're 6 months out?
Yeah.
I would imagine that The Mandalorian stuff's going to start coming at us.
I don't know what Disney's marketing is going to be for Disney Plus, but I can only imagine that we're going to start seeing commercials.
You would think. I mean, it comes out in 6 months. I mean, you want to start a new streaming service,
right?
And people are going to have to come in and subscribe for. You should probably market it.
Yeah, I think we're going to see television commercials. Probably a lot on Disney channels, right? And ABC and all that. And I could imagine that we will see at least short little clips of The Mandalorian and of, maybe some Clone Wars clips. And then all of the other stuff that they're going to have, you know, all the movies in their catalog, maybe some Marvel stuff, you know, all that stuff put together in a promotional clip for Disney Plus. I could see that happening.
Yeah, because I mean we're entering a Solo promotional time frame now. You know what I mean? Like we're entering the time frame in which they thought promoting Solo was a good idea. Like,
oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, we got 5 months. What?
This is
like,
one of those
like
things.
5 months is it's you know it's not enough time to grab your casuals.
Right. Well, that's what I was just getting at. Is this is one of those things that most people that are quote unquote in the know, we know about it. We know when it's coming. We're ready, right? Our fingers hovering over the subscribe button. But there are plenty of people that I'm sure don't even know this is coming yet. And you're going to have to hit them somehow. And I'm sure television's going to be the way to go.
You got 5 months or 6 months right now, and you're going to try and like hope that the people that are pretty much cord cutters running off Netflix and the like,
right,
to stumble across this. Nah, you need to start plastering it now.
Although some of those people are probably the people in the know, right?
Yeah,
I mean, because you're talking internet savvy people, but something that we, as you know, primarily Star Wars fans, you know, Marvel fans, we have to consider is there's going to be people like my mother who might subscribe for all the Disney princess stuff, right?
Yeah,
she collected all the movies on VHS, you know, when they would, you know, we were bringing it out of the vault, and she'd hurry up and buy them before they went back into the vault. You know, there was that marketing technique they had, if we remember. And
yeah, I wonder how that's going to work. Like,
yeah, I'm sure
they're blowing the vault up.
I'm sure they're going to rotate through. You know what I'm saying? It'll be available on the streaming service for a while, and then it might go away and come back, and you know. But
yeah, they're not going to say that right now.
Exactly. But you know, I can see her subscribing for that kind of stuff. You know, she has less of an interest in Star Wars and you know, practically none in Marvel, but that kind of stuff's going to be available on there. Should be all over that. But when it comes to knowing about Disney Plus, she has no clue right now. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been nothing, no marketing,
right?
Just Bob Iger tweets, really.
Yeah,
about what you got. All right, so last week we talked about the movie release schedule that they put out there.
Yeah,
and we speculated on which films these would be. Right? Would it be the Benioff and Weiss films? Would it be the Rian Johnson films?
Right.
And it turns out Bob Iger confirmed the film releasing in 2022 will be a Benioff and Weiss film.
Yep. No real surprise there. I mean, I think we kind of called that.
Well, they've kind of been at the forefront of the discussions.
Yes.
The first thing that rolls off the tongue when they talk about the films in the works is the Benioff and Weiss film.
Exactly.
And if any of the rumors are true about where they're headed in the timeline, I could really see them being excited about going into that territory.
Sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Rian Johnson's trilogy that, you know, obviously at this point will come later.
Right.
I would not be surprised to see him revisit the sequel trilogy characters.
Oh, you think so?
I'm just, at this point, you see how long it's going to stretch out now. You're looking at a decade before you're going to see the Johnson films. Close to.
Right.
So a decade almost would be a good time frame to pass to come back to the sequel trilogy characters.
Okay.
While it won't be a Skywalker story, because that story is going to get wrapped up here.
Right. In case you haven't heard, episode 9 is wrapping up the Skywalker saga.
So while that is going to wrap up that portion of the saga, that doesn't mean they can't revisit those characters. Your Finn, your Poe, things like that.
Right.
So I wouldn't be too surprised to see him go back into those characters.
Interesting. All right. So what do you make of this? There's been some rumors floating around about him possibly directing these movies with Benioff and Weiss.
I don't buy it.
You don't?
I don't.
So
because the way it was kind of, I can't really say marketed, because they haven't really marketed this stuff at all. But the way it was kind of presented,
yep,
is that Ryan was coming into helm a trilogy.
Right. Yes.
And with him, they said trilogy right off the get.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he was coming into helm a trilogy.
That was before The Last Jedi was released.
Now, if he's not going to be a writer on that trilogy, I don't think that this is the Benioff and Weiss stuff. You know what I mean? Benioff and Weiss were brought in to helm a trilogy, much like Rian Johnson is. They didn't say trilogy at first, but they were brought in to helm a set of films.
Right.
I don't think they're going to overlap those. I think you'll see different directors in the Benioff and Weiss trilogy. Like, I don't foresee them directing all 3 films.
Really?
I see them writing them.
Well, okay, so, yeah.
And I say the same thing for Johnson. I don't see Johnson writing and directing all 3 of his films. I think it'll be maybe the first film, written and directed by, and then written, and then directed by someone else for the other ones.
I'm not so sure, because I think they might be looking at, what's happened with the sequel trilogy, okay, and how the story has flowed, okay, how cohesive things have been, and maybe if they have Benioff and Weiss like writing and producing and Johnson directing, for the trilogy, maybe they're thinking things could have a more cohesive feel, from start to finish.
Maybe.
Because, we've talked about it before. This is all Last Jedi stuff aside. You had JJ co-writing and directing, and then Ryan writing and directing. Now back to JJ. You have different minds kind of, at the helm at different points. Whereas both prior trilogies, we've talked about it before, even with the different directors in the OT, George was always there.
Well, that's where I'm headed. Like, I say that Benioff and Weiss, they write all 3 of their films.
Sure.
And with Johnson, he's going to write all 3 of his films. There'll be different directors intermingled in those films. I think I just feel like that is the way they're going to head, just because, one, that's how George did it.
Yeah.
And look how it worked out. Worked out great.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if as a company, they're looking at, why don't we take what's good about all of these guys and utilize them where their, strengths are.
Why put that out there as 2 separate trilogies for so long if that's what's going to happen? Like, I understand they've kind of gone quiet a little bit.
They have on the Johnson one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just wondering because here's my thing, right? When you really examine The Last Jedi, I think we can all agree that there were things that we all liked about it, and there are things that we left a little bewildered about, right? And I think that has all got to do with the writing. I think the direction on the movie was good.
Yeah, but so
it's story.
You know how directors kind of take a little creative licensing with stuff?
Yeah, they can here and there. But I mean,
so, and that's still not disproving your point at all, I guess. Because I think that the whole writing directing thing, I think they're gonna kind of move away from that a little bit with having the same writer as director.
I kind of agree.
Because sometimes it helps to have a second, the writer coming in and directing his own film, he's still going to be partial to, they are still going to be partial to their writing.
Yes.
They wrote it. That's the way they saw it. They'll be more apt to stick with that.
Right.
Whereas a director coming in and didn't write that, they may be a little more apt to go, okay, I like where this is headed, but let's change this, and this up. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like do the same thing, but do it this way,
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I liken that to, whenever I'm trying to, fix a problem, you get another set of eyes to look at something and, you
Absolutely.
might see things in a whole new way.
Absolutely.
I don't know. There, like I said, for me, when I look at The Last Jedi, I really can't fault the direction because
spectacular directed.
Whatever you may or may not like about the story, it was all done very well, So
Sure.
I don't know. I think it could go that route. I'm not saying it will, but it could. And it could also go the route you're talking. You get a different perspective for each film, maybe. I
feel like the way they've been talking, especially in the ways they've kind of been doing Star Wars lately, I think they have a lot of directors waiting in the wings.
They could.
I just feel like there's a lot of people they want to put out there for a Star Wars story.
Here's another thought. Maybe a lot of these folks that are dipping their toe in the water here into Star Wars through the streaming service might be how they get their foot in the door for, the big screen.
Right.
It's possible. Never know. And a lot of that, could be, let's see how well received like The Mandalorian is. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if there's like a certain episode of The Mandalorian that everyone just is head over heels about, falls in love with, that might be the person then,
Yeah, I just, some of the things I think about too is like, so you remember there was a lot of talk about, who was it that directed Wonder Woman? Patty Jenkins, right?
Yes, it was Patty Jenkins.
So they were like, it seemed like she was super being targeted to direct a Star Wars film.
Right. And
this is another thing I kind of factored into my thought about the Johnson trilogy is I think all that noise was legit. I think they really were targeting her for a Star Wars film.
I have no doubt.
And if the Benioff and Weiss trilogy is in this time frame that they've released, and say Johnson's takes place after, her obligations would probably be taken care of by that point.
That's
and
possible.
they would be able to get someone like her to direct a film in the Johnson trilogy. It's just one of those reasons I could see a delay like that happening.
Right. Well, I have to say this first off. I think we're both talking about stuff that, we would like to see happen. Because I think in both cases, Benioff and Weiss and Johnson, you want somebody at the helm, right? They're writing. They are kind of like, call it, I don't know, show running, okay? Producing. Yeah. Maybe, maybe not, no maybe about it. Not directing,
right.
But they have a singular vision of what the whole trilogy is going to be.
Yes.
That I think is definitely something that we want.
Yes.
I would like to think, with that being the case, you won't have this kind of disconnect that we feel like, I feel like, I'll say, I can speak for myself, that there was a little bit between episodes 7 and 8. So,
that's the thing. There is an immense difference between those two films.
Yes.
And like, I'm not saying that as like it's like this horrible thing.
Right.
But you feel it. Like if you sit down and you watch The Force Awakens, immediately when you're done, you put in The Last Jedi and you watch that back to back, it feels like two different films.
Yes.
Well, like it not only two different films, but the stories don't feel connected really at all.
Right.
The way emotion is conveyed and all that is just so different.
Yes. It's all the same characters. It's all the same actors. It's a different vibe. For
Way
sure.
Different vibe.
Yeah, I think that right there is the conundrum that they're looking to solve.
You're already seeing some of this, some of this kind of idea. It's not very common for like a TV show to have a singular writer, to have someone at the helm every single episode, right?
Right.
The Mandalorian is doing that.
Yeah, you're talking Favreau.
Favreau is the showrunner. He is in on all of it.
Absolutely.
So you got like one singular vision at the top. Now you look at the directors for The Mandalorian. You've got tons of different people and tons of different styles.
Yes.
Everybody that is involved in The Mandalorian has a different style.
Yes.
But and it's the same when you look at the original trilogy. All the directors had way different styles.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But you had George Lucas helming it.
Yep.
So you had a singular vision injecting other styles.
Yep, totally.
As opposed to two different visions as well as different styles.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I just got to throw this in there too, only because, after the Mandalorian panel, it was clearly evident that, Favreau has the benefit of Dave Filoni,
Yeah.
kind of, the little Star Wars angel on his shoulder, kind of like, well, you want to do this, but you got to have this and this and this, because that's kind of how it goes in the Star Wars. So, which I call a benefit, and I would like to think most people would agree, because Dave.
So what's the
Filoni-
schedule we're looking at? It was 2022, 2024, 2026. Correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I would not be surprised in the least bit to see Dave Filoni directing a major motion picture in 2024.
Wouldn't surprise me either, really.
And I think if the rumors are correct and this is headed into the Old Republic era,
Yeah.
I think that flies right into Dave's wheelhouse. I think he'd be able to take that Old Republic era and knock it out of the park.
So do I.
Just talking about the scale of the Clone Wars with
Right.
these big battles and
Yeah.
things he had to convey in that, something like the Old Republic era where you're going to have the same kind of thing. Like I said, really just kind of sails right into his wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's true. It would definitely be, there'd be room for some epic stuff going on, for sure.
Right.
Giant battles, yeah.
Especially
Lightsabers
since
everywhere.
he's been able to now put some live action directing into his resume there.
Yeah, and that's, that's kind of what I was hinting at before with, getting your foot in the door on directing in the Mandalorian series. I mean, we have what, 4 or 5 directors on that series? Well,
5, I think.
what's that?
I think it's 5.
Okay. So that might be a good pool of people to choose from for, Benioff and Weiss's films,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's who knows? And like you said, it could be Johnson. I don't foresee them keeping the same director for 3 films.
Right.
So that's why I hesitate to say, it might be Rian Johnson in directing the Benioff and Weiss trilogy, because I don't feel like they're bringing him in for a one and done.
Right.
I feel like they've committed to him for much more, but we'll see. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? We'll see.
It's all been quiet on that front. Who knows what's going on?
I do like the idea, though. I just want to put it out there again. If you separate the writing from the directing, it's probably to all of our benefit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a formula that's worked in the past.
Absolutely.
Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsandMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsandMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, so keeping our speculation hats on for a moment, Bob Iger was talking at a Q&A session for, oh wow, I'm going to butcher this, the 6th annual Moffat-Nathanson Media and Communication Summit.
Not bad.
Yeah, I looked at that, I was like, whoa. And he, in a way, I say in a way, kind of confirmed that there's going to be another live action series aside from The Mandalorian and the
Cassian Andor series.
Cassian Andor series. And this is why I say kind of confirmed. His statement was this. It was, my guess is there probably will be at least one more live action series that we produce for Disney Plus, a Star Wars series, before we release the next film. So we're not doing nothing. I believe these TV series will be extremely popular for Star Wars fans and a very, very valuable to Disney Plus while we gear up for the next set of films. We haven't said anything more beyond what we've announced on the next film. So I wouldn't really call this a confirmation, but in a way, he's kind of confirming it.
Yeah, I think
That's him trying to tap dance.
right. So everything that he says, I think, is very carefully calculated. I don't think he says anything by mistake. You don't
Like
get
I
to
said,
be
there's
in his position by making mistakes.
yeah, and the reason I say lightly confirms is because he says, "My guess is there probably will be."
Right.
So
And I take that to mean that they have probably stories that they're pitching and people that they're talking to, and in the early stages of getting production set up.
yeah, they're in development.
Yeah.
Any ideas?
Well, I have two. One is one that we've talked about on this show many times that we'd love to see. If it's not gonna
Jackson, the Star Wars series.
That's right. Yeah. I think we'll relegate that one to comics. It's if we're not going to get the Obi-Wan film, make the series, right? If they could get Ewan McGregor on board, that would be phenomenal. I think, that's to be honest about it, that's my one true hope, that would be that. That aside, I could see this being some sort of a ancillary setup to the Benioff and Weiss trilogy. So when I say ancillary setup, probably be like a side story which ties into their trilogy but doesn't really deal with their main characters directly, if that makes sense. But
or even like a precursor, like a
yeah, could be a precursor,
groundwork.
or because I don't know, maybe it sets up the sets up the MacGuffin for their trilogy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I think it could take place in that timeline and have reference to characters that they're going to have in their films, but maybe not have them directly in the series itself.
Right.
But it's familiarizing the fans with that era in Star Wars, with their kind of direction their story's going to end up going prior to their trilogy coming out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I dig it. And that would be, I think, an exceptional idea, just because while the Old Republic has been talked about a lot,
yeah,
we haven't really seen a lot of like official stuff,
right.
There was a lot of now Legends material,
Yes.
but never anything from Lucasfilm.
Right. I almost hesitate to go here because I know it is such a loved character from the Old Republic. But if and it could go one way or the other, right? If you hear of, see, or find out about Revan in this series, I think you probably won't in the trilogy. Okay? Or
Well,
his character.
I kind of said that as like a kind of in the background of when you were talking there.
Uh-huh.
I said Revan.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And I think like a Revan and Malik series
Right.
would be fantastic as a precursor to like a all-out war scenario.
Right. And that's, that is kind of where I'm going with this. You have a bunch of little stuff maybe that happens in the series that kind of sets up for, this giant, big budget, big screen Star Wars epic, right? I mean, it's kind of what we're going to be looking at, I think, is, we're going to have excellent storytelling and stuff going on in the streaming service, just not as big of a budget as you get for the feature films.
From what I'm seeing, they're giving pretty damn big budgets.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, when it comes to TV production, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, but 10 million isn't 100 million.
Exactly. So
Yeah, and it would be a great marketing strategy.
I think so too.
You have like a road to their series.
Yeah.
Instead of doing like novels or comics or something like that, you have a TV series.
Or not instead of, but as well as, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
you still get the novels and things like that for everyone who wants to, go that one extra step deeper into the story. But this would be a way for a lot more people to consume that without having to, let's face it, put in the extra effort. So,
Yeah, I think the problem though with doing like an Old Republic series though, I mean, would a budget like The Mandalorian be enough?
I think so. I think you could do it. And
Yeah,
why,
I guess
why do you say that? I mean, are you just talking because of like
the grand scale of it.
right? So, and this is where I'm saying it's kind of like the smaller things that set up for the big stuff, the grand scale. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Yeah, you're probably not going to see, epic battles with like hundreds of lightsabers on each side going at once in the series. You might see that in the film, but I don't think you're going to see that in the series.
Well, if they head down that path that is rumored, then you better see that in the film.
Right.
That's like the whole allure of all that.
Yeah.
Is seeing massive battles between Force users. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, it would.
I think of when I think of this idea of an Old Republic film, I think of the game
Right.
Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO that came out, and the just the promotional material that they had, the cinematics,
Oh, right.
and yeah, just think of how great seeing something like that in a big budget film would be. That first trailer that we got for the Old Republic. You remember that?
Oh, I do.
The Deceive trailer, where Darth Malgus attacks the Jedi Temple.
Yes. Flies the ship right into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the first time you see, he lights his lightsaber, and then you see a bunch of red lightsabers light up behind him.
Yes.
Like, that was just one of the coolest things we had ever seen.
Absolutely.
So to see that in a big film, that's exciting to think about.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are tons of other ways they could go with this, because they seem to be targeting individual characters so far.
Yeah. So far.
With the Mandalorian and Cassian Andor.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised in the least to see a Vader series or something like that. Especially with all the Vader content that's been coming of late.
Well, that'd be interesting. I like the idea.
Yeah, because we haven't seen a whole lot of Vader being Vader.
Right. So you're talking a whole series of the 45 seconds we got in Rogue One.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, kind of gives some background to that brutality
Right.
that Vader was known for.
That'd be cool. That's for sure. I guess keep our ear to the ground and see if they sign James Earl Jones on for anything. That's
Right. Yeah, that you'd have to.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's yeah, I think of all the ways I could go with it. I really like the idea of the Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I think I'm really with you on that one. And I think a lot of that's because I've kind of warmed up to it. At first I was kind of like, Obi-Wan, come on. Like, was he building sandcastles? Like,
Right.
you know, but then you see that Rebels episode where Darth Maul comes to Tatooine to find him.
Right.
It's like, wow, there's some stuff that could go down for Obi-Wan.
Absolutely.
You know, even being exiled on Tatooine, he could still find himself in some situations.
Sure.
So I think Rebels really helped warm me up to that idea. Because I really don't like the idea of Obi-Wan leaving. You know what I mean? Going off on all these adventures and stuff like that while he's supposed to be in his self-imposed exile watching Luke.
See, I don't mind him leaving.
I just don't think he can do it very often.
Right, exactly. I agree with that. If he has to go for some specific purpose, then I can see him doing that.
But if anybody has to lay low,
Yes.
it's Obi-Wan.
Yes. And that could play right into the story too. You know, I like he's getting out of there just before the Star Destroyers arrive and stuff, right? And it's like, ooh, just in the nick of time. Okay, back to Tatooine, laying low again. You know, you can't do it every week, but if the whole story arc,
I don't think you can have Vader suspecting that Obi-Wan's out there.
True.
Because
No,
I feel like
no,
that
episode 4.
presence I haven't felt since.
Yes,
you know,
exactly that. Yes,
I think that has to be since Mustafar.
right. Yep,
Especially with the way Tarkin kind of handled that.
right. But you could have Vader show up to a world and see what has gone down and be like, this was the work of a Jedi, you know?
Yeah. But you can't have him suspecting Obi-Wan. I don't feel like that's
No.
even a possibility.
No. But that would be a way to get two of our ideas into one here, kind of.
Yeah, you can get some Vader and get some Obi-Wan.
Right?
Just have them kind of just missing each other.
Yep. Which, you know, hey, it's a big galaxy, man, you know?
Yeah. You know, and I liken that to the Clone Wars.
Right.
With Anakin and Grievous.
Yes. Which,
You know,
I gotta
Anakin
say, that was done quite well.
Yeah, he never saw Grievous.
Right. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board for Obi-Wan, especially if you get Ewan.
Oh, it's the only way to do it.
Like if Ewan's on board, this needs to happen.
Yes. And I gotta say, I'm okay with some sort of a setup series for the Benioff Weiss thing. So, if that's the case, you know, that's taking a dive into a whole new Star Wars world for us. You know, the long ago past of a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, and in the new canon, pretty much untouched.
Right.
So the possibilities there are just absolutely endless.
Absolutely.
All right. So we talked a few weeks ago about Galaxy's Edge and
Yes.
this 4-hour window that was rumored.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey, get out.
Yeah. So it's confirmed. This is happening. There will be a 4-hour window for the early birds to get in and get out.
So have they decided how they're going to tase people yet? I mean,
Yeah.
I still like my wristband taser idea. It's
Well, you were right on with the wristband thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the statement is this. The first month of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge will be more of a soft opening period for the theme park expansion. In order to make sure as many people can enjoy the experience as possible during this window that lasts through June 23rd, guests will be given colored wristbands that will give you 4 hours to spend in the land.
Ooh.
So, depending on what color your wristband is, they have a way to identify you now.
Wow, okay.
So, a little less of the honor system thing that they were talking about.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this. I don't like this idea that, you know, you go in, you spend Disney theme park money
Right.
to get told you have 4 hours to get in and get out. I just think that Smuggler's Run is going to eat up most of that time.
Yeah. I don't know how it couldn't.
Because they really haven't elaborated on if they're limiting how many people are going to be in the park.
Right.
And I feel like if you're doing these wristbands to keep the park at capacity, you're just going to piss a lot of people off.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of Star Wars fans who are just grateful to be like, you know, one of the first ones to see it. But,
agreed.
you know, there's going to be some that are not going to be able to do that one thing that they wanted to do when they were there. And that was their only opportunity. So, you know, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I also feel like they're kind of missing the mark here, because there is a statement from Disney VP Chris Thieler.
Okay.
Right? That says, at a certain point, if we have to, then we'll start to ask them to leave the land. 4 hours is a long time in the land. Most guests are going to find that they're ready to roll after 4 hours.
What?
Yeah, I disagree.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I feel like if you know Star Wars fans, Star Wars fans are going to find time to take a picture with a rock.
Yeah.
All right.
If it's a Star
this
Wars
rock looks awesome,
Yeah.
and looks like it's right out of Star Wars, yeah, they're going to take time to line up and take a picture with it.
Yeah.
All right. So to think that 4 hours in a Star Wars themed land is going to be enough for Star Wars fans, I think you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Especially Bob Iger shared some photos.
Oh, yeah. And I saw these. Ooh.
Okay. And the first one is in like this like marketplace area.
Yeah.
I mean, I could spend a couple hours just trying to check this out.
Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, this is absolutely incredible. I cannot, like, I try to imagine what this land is going to look like, and I didn't see this coming.
Right. Just from these pictures, it's already far beyond what I imagined it could have been.
I mean, they said that this is going to be immersive. You're going to feel like you're in Star Wars, and all along it's kind of been like, okay, sure.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's going to be close.
Right.
This looks fantastic.
Yes. And
they've never built a movie set this good.
Right, exactly. Part of what, you know, I'm getting at here is, you're in Star Wars land. It doesn't mean, everything is big marquee Star Wars, and neon lights everywhere, right?
Right.
This looks like you're in a film.
Yeah. And like 4 hours?
Yeah, exactly. Not to mention, I just got to say this because, I don't know. If you're trying to promote this thing, to say, yeah, you'll be ready to roll in 4 hours, that's not good promotion. I'm sorry.
Not at all.
I would like to think that, whoever's in charge of Disney marketing is like calling up this person saying, hey,
shut up.
Watch how you say that.
Let's put it this way. Okay. I've been to Disney World since the Star Wars acquisition.
Yep.
And I can tell you this much. I've spent 4 hours in the Star Wars portion of Disney Hollywood Studios.
Yes.
In the launch bay and Star Tours alone.
Yep.
So to tell me that you have a full-size Millennium Falcon, you have this marketplace, and then you go to this next picture that Bob Iger shared, and it's on it's within the Millennium Falcon there.
Right.
They're at the Jarek table.
Yep.
This looks amazing.
Yes.
I could spend 2 hours looking at this crap.
Exactly. I don't know. Obviously, looking at these pictures, it's awesome. But I can also just imagine what it's going to look like there. Where in that marketplace, there's 400 other people there. It's going to be hard to maneuver. I'm sure of that. At least right away.
Here's my question. How long, and I say this because these two guys, they get it. They understand, right? How long did J.J. Abrams and Steven Spielberg spend in Galaxy's Edge?
As long as they wanted to.
Right. But my question is, I want a number. Because if they were with no one in the park, if they were there longer than an hour with no one in the park.
Oh, right. Yeah. Then you're not getting through in 4.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So did you see that 360 video?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
That was amazing.
I mean, how long did you spend looking at that?
Oh, I know. And to be honest about it, there's really not that much to it, but you just keep looking and looking, what else can I see in here, Oh.
And then this final picture, they're standing outside the Falcon.
Yep.
And you see the Falcon in the background with just the landscape. I mean, let's start to add this up. I mean, how long, if you're there, all right, and there's a bunch of people around you, obviously, so you're not going to get to look at everything really fast.
Right.
So how long do you spend in this area? I mean, if it's 20 minutes in this one spot,
uh-huh,
what is 4 hours to you? Like,
right.
It's nothing.
Exactly.
So I don't like this strategy. I feel like you, and this is, I think, a symptom of wanting to get as many people through there as they can.
It certainly feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, that's not reality.
Exactly.
You're not going to satisfy people with this experience by not allowing them to experience it. I think they're better off at least with just letting word of mouth promote this thing.
Right.
Just capping, okay, this is how many people we can let in today, and that's that.
Right.
And it's first come, first serve.
Yeah.
While that on the surface doesn't feel fair, it is fair.
Yeah, it's it's tough. I mean,
because allowing people to absorb it is going to make that word of mouth even stronger.
Right.
Like I said, we're Star Wars fans. We'll take pictures with rocks, dude.
Yeah.
If it looks like Star Wars,
Absolutely.
I mean, the people that, I mean, you're talking a group of people that like make pilgrimages to like Abu Dhabi,
right.
just to see Star Wars sets and things like that.
Tunisia.
Tunisia.
Yeah, Norway.
Yeah, I mean, even the redwood forest out there in California.
Yeah.
Just to see.
Yeah.
And do you think they spend 4 hours there?
They better.
But what I'm saying is, you think they limit it to that?
No.
I mean, when you're doing something like this, 4 hours goes really fast.
Yeah, for sure. Some people are gonna be, they're just gonna revel in the fact that they were one of the first that got to experience it. And
yeah, that will last probably for the first week.
Right. I just hope that,
a month.
I hope that is enough, because I'm sure that there's going to be some people that are disappointed. They went there to go do this one thing, and inside their 4-hour window, there was no way possible they're going to get to do it. So
how many people are going to go there, right? And go to look at all the other stuff first instead of run right to Smuggler's Run.
Yeah.
Because they know everybody's doing that. Go look at other stuff first, and then get booted out of the park before they get on Smuggler's Run.
Yeah, that would be tough. I mean, that's
because if they run the park, like I said, at capacity or whatever,
right,
you're looking at a 3-hour wait for this ride.
Oh, I'm sure.
Unless they really have something up their sleeve that we're not seeing or hearing about,
right?
That's going to make all this stuff flow really fantastically. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a feeling that it might leave some people disappointed, but hopefully over time everyone gets to go there and enjoy it, and because it looks amazing.
I mean, we're looking at the photos.
Right.
This is spectacular. I mean, I know it's 3 photos.
Yeah.
But those 3 photos show a lot.
A lot.
I mean, hell, you're limiting people to 4 minutes in the park. We just spent 20 minutes talking about it.
Exactly.
We're not even there.
Yeah. We haven't seen it. Yeah, it's a good point.
So, yeah. I'm interested to hear at the end of the month how this goes. I'm crossing my fingers and I'm rooting for everybody.
Exactly.
That this really works out. Because if it does, great. We were wrong. Great.
Exactly. Yep.
But as someone who's spent plenty of time in theme parks, I don't see this as a good idea.
Right.
But then again, they don't pay me for my ideas.
Yeah, I'm sure that somebody's got this all worked out. We'll just have to see how well it's executed.
All right. So, John Williams.
The maestro
Hard at
himself.
work.
Yes.
Well, I saw this headline for this article, and, well, that kind of got me excited. The title is, John Williams already loves the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. So, a couple different ways of looking at this, right? This is somebody who's been with Star Wars since the beginning. He's, just as in touch with the movie as anybody.
Yep.
The fact that he likes it, obviously he wouldn't come out. I'm sure he wouldn't come out and say, "Yeah, well, it's okay."
I don't know. We just talked about the Galaxy's Edge thing. They might let him say that.
Huh?
Yeah, you're done after 4 hours.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. Right.
So,
but
who knows? They might let him say anything.
But,
John Williams, Rise of Skywalker, meh.
Yeah, I don't think so. Hearing that he likes it, he likes what he's seen, it does encourage me. We've talked about the disconnect between 7 and 8 a little bit earlier, and hearing this, fills me with a lot of hope that this film is going to do everything that JJ says it's going to do, as far as wrapping up the Skywalker saga, this trilogy, and all 9 episodes together. So, encouraging as far as I'm concerned. So that's one angle. The other angle is he has mentioned before that there has to be some significance to Rey's lineage, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of telling right there. That's pure speculation on my part. I'm reading into this a little more than what it says on the surface, but I'm thinking that might mean he's satisfied with what he saw there.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's been working on it for about a month now.
Right.
Okay. And he's got about 25 minutes of score done. So that's not slow,
No, that's, yeah.
It's not John Williams' pace. Typically, he seems to write scores much faster.
Yeah, I think in the past he was under more of a time crunch,
Right.
like pressure. I think he's giving, or I think he has been given more leeway as of late to try and, not rush it, as far as
Right, they're actually going to give him time to sit down and
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah, exactly. I think they know by now, they can, if they get a certain sequence of scenes done, they can hand that over to him and he can kind of start scoring it, that sort of thing. They aren't going to have an almost final cut before they start bringing him on.
Well, whenever you hear the composer say they love it, it's promising.
I totally agree.
Because you've got the guy who is really tasked with really setting the entire tone and pace of the film.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Going, wow, I really dig this.
Okay, so this is the musician in me coming out, is that he, by saying this, it tells me he is able to watch this and pull the inspiration to write more music, good music to it, which I totally get. He can watch that and it can inspire. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, so you say as a musician, you've been in, garage sessions where you're just jamming, right?
Sure.
And we've been there where you start to feel something, you dig it.
Yes.
And everything just flows.
Yep.
The creativity flows and everybody gets into it and you end up coming up with something just, at least you feel, it's awesome.
Yep.
So, yeah, hearing that he loves it, that means when he's going in there to write and piece this all together, he's feeling it.
Absolutely.
He's in that mode.
Yes.
So that is going to be, and the John Williams mode. That's
right.
I mean, if you got John Williams feeling it, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's exciting to hear. I mean, like you said, he's been in since the beginning.
Right.
He's known his feelings all along with watching each iteration.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. And the other thing to think about is you kind of touched on lineage and things like that.
Yep.
When The Force Awakens came out, and you finally got to hear from John Williams, he really had an attachment to the character of Rey.
Yeah.
So he had that attachment, and now he's saying he loves the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, that means probably the way he was feeling is the way it headed.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got something for this. This is what I've been thinking. This."
Yes. Yes.
That's when he was writing the music, he felt this was Rey.
Right.
So, as a guy who really kind of helps tell stories through music, if the story was going the way he kind of felt it was going, he's just going to have a second wind, like.
Exactly. He's going to pull that inspiration from what he sees on film. That's what I'm seeing.
Not only that, but he doesn't have to kind of like toss away the stuff he was.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Stuff that he was already thinking about and finally coming to fruition. I like it.
I wouldn't be surprised if that 25 minutes of stuff that's scored is stuff that's already been on his mind.
Yeah, bouncing around in his head for sure. Definitely encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
I guess for me that's the bottom line as far as, that story goes is, hearing it from the man, the maestro himself, that he's liking what he's seen so far. Yeah, it's one thing when someone like Bob Iger says that. Of course he says that, right? Yeah. John Williams, and again, yes, he's involved with the project, but at a different level. It's not so much business. It's he's at the creative level. So
it's a different kind of ownership.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's more emotional attachment to it there. So yeah, I like hearing
he's
it from
coming in artistically, not business like.
Exactly. So that's what's encouraging for me is hearing him say that he's liking what he sees. I'm chalking that up in the win column.
Yeah, it's in the win column, but it's bittersweet at the same time.
Oh yeah,
because it's like, oh, it's awesome. He loves it. Crap, it's his last one.
Exactly.
But it's his last one, and he's feeling it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Even it's the last one, yes, but he got to finish scoring the Skywalker saga. I'm good with that.
And not only that, so not only the whole Rey thing, he could be feeling things that he was, kind of putting in his mind back in 77.
Right.
So this could be an all out. He's like, wow, everything that I was feeling musically has come full circle.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be the grand finale. So, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if there's anything a musician loves, it's going out with a bang.
That's right.
It's saving the best track for last.
Heck yeah. This is the big rock and roll ending, right?
Yep.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited to hear the score, especially. And I'll tell you what, that is the one thing throughout, the what will be 9 films of the Skywalker saga. That is the one constant that no matter what happened, no matter how you felt about this character or that character or this story thread or that story thread, the music has been so solid. You can't help but be excited about the music. If you love Star Wars music, just hearing that is just so encouraging.
Absolutely.
John Williams has been that heartbeat, that constant.
Yep, for sure.
Like even when he's not there.
Oh yeah. So that's definitely for sure something to think about too, right? So, you know, his themes are even prominent when there's other composers at work, right? So they pull from you know, stuff that he's already put out there. I mean, that helps make it you know, Star Wars. So, you know, you hear a little interlude here and there, you know, of his stuff incorporated into their stuff. So,
yeah, you look at the Kevin Kiner stuff or the Giacchino stuff.
Yep.
It still screams John Williams, even though John Williams had nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Definitely excited about the score. I mean, I've never not been.
Right. Yep.
Like I said, that's that constant heartbeat.
Yep. And you know, I think we were all, you know, we could all agree that we're excited about the score, but to hear that he likes what he's seen of this film, definitely encouraging. So,
yeah,
that makes me even more excited for December.
Oh, definitely. So, well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsofmore.com. That's really the best way to get a hold of us. But we're also on social media. We're at The Wars of More on Twitter, Facebook.com/The Wars of More. You can find all that and all the ways to find a show over at thewarsofmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We'll talk next week.